Alright, go ahead and open After Effects, whichever one you have. Any After Effects version should work for this. They're pretty much all the same other than just new tools in each one. When you do that, you'll have a little window come up here and start yourself a new composition with your the same settings as your camera. If you didn't do that, just come down here and click this button. Start the composition as whatever name you'd like. I'm going to say main. Keep these settings, you know, as your camera, HD, 1080p, whatever you want. The duration of whatever you plan on doing, do that. Make sure your background color is black. Click OK. Alright, now that you've done that, find whatever video file you're going to be using for this effect. Since it's a fireball, you know, do a punch, do a throw, whatever you want to do. Any type of maneuver that looks like you're shooting fire out of you will be fine. Go to wherever your actor did the punch. I did this multiple times because I wanted to make sure I got a good one. Click Control-Shift-D and delete the parts that you're not going to be using. For me, it will be the entire beginning. Drag this back to the beginning of your timeline. Alright, now you got yourself, your actor, throwing a punch. And then walking off camera. Alright, so go to where the punch actually begins. You might want to use frame by frame to actually see when the arm is fully extended. This will get you a better effect. So for me, it's about right there. That's when the fireball should be coming out of my hand. Now go to your torch. I picked random ones, but torch 1 out of the Action Essentials pack will work fine. If you don't have Action Essentials, you can find a lot of free stuff on YouTube that you can use that people will pretty much give it to you for free. So just look through YouTube and see if you can find something. Any type of fire will work. I actually have multiple ones here, so I can show you that it will work with both charges and fireballs and pretty much anything you want to do you can use for this. We're going to use a fire. We're going to use this torch. So go down to your layer here where the torch is, set that thing to add. When you set it to add, and make sure by the way it starts at the beginning of your line here whenever your actor just started to punch. Click this arrow down here, go to transform, click the position. Keyframe that position. Do not forget this because otherwise all your work will be in vain. This part is just realistic. This will make your effect look better than most other people's on YouTube. How fast your dude is throwing your fist is actually how fast your fireball should move across the screen. So if you look at your screen and see that it's moving a few inches each time, that's how fast your fireball should move. So I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 frames, I think it will take for this thing to get off there and look like it's actually traveling relatively fast. So just drag it over after the 5 frames, or however many frames you think it needs to go, and see how it looks. Alright, so there we have it. It's actually not going very fast. I could make that go a little bit faster. But let's see how it looks with motion blur, because that's pretty much the key to everything on After Effects. Click this thingy right here. And also click this thingy right there. If you don't have this thingy, then you're in a different mode, and you're going to have to switch your toggle mode to the correct setting so that you can actually have your motion blur setting available to you. Once you click the motion blur, if you do not have this motion blur set on, this motion blur won't work. So make sure you do that. Alright, so now look what it looks like instead with motion blur. It is a big blurry blob of fiery goodness. Now, this is an option that I actually did in my avatar video, and you'll see, and it is your option to do it yourself, so, you know, it's how you think it will look better. In my avatar video, I actually made the fireball start before they punched in their hand. I made it grow out of nowhere, or, you know, grow. So basically all you would do for that is make a mask, create an ellipse tool, or, you know, use your pen to make a circle, set the mask mode to add and animate it to come outwards, feather a little bit, and it will look like the fire is growing on the hand. Also, you'll have to follow the hand, of course, um, while it's going up. You'd want to start the fire probably when he does the fist right there. So you'd animate it to come out, and it'd probably be a full fire by then, and then when it comes out, it would be a big fire. For this, I'm going to scale this thingy up a little bit, about right there, because I want this to be a big fireball. A big fireball. Alright. Alright, now that you got that, the second most important thing to fire is if you have fire, you're going to have light. And without the light, it looks very, very bad. So go down here, duplicate this layer, or copy and paste it, whichever you decide, and go back and bring it to the starting point, or cut it. Set this mode to add. It's going to brighten everything horribly. Click your ellipse tool and bring it over your fire. Make sure it's nice and big because you're going to be feathering that. So click down to the arrow at the mask and feather it out a lot. Feather the hell out of it. There we go. We've feathered it. Alright. Now that you've done that, go over to tint. Whatever tint you're going to be using, drag it onto your layer. And tint it the color of the medium fire. That's a little too hot. Something like that. There we go. Alright, now that you've done that, click the mask path. Make sure you click this or it will not animate. And move up frames. 1, 2, that's about good. And then, if you need to, create some points and just drag this thing forward where your fire's going. Make sure it follows on every frame. Alrighty. Now, if you look at the thingy, this is what you got so far. A very, very bright, 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 bright mess. Doesn't look too bad. If you click away real quick and you look at it again without the lines, you can see, oh, well, I didn't do it. You can see it looks okay. That looks like a very big fiery ball. Alright, now that you've done that, you have your glow and everything. It's looking pretty good already. You could leave it here if you wanted to, but it's not realistic because fire doesn't look like that on camera. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to duplicate or copy and paste your main torch layer. Go down to transform and scale it up big. Very big. Maybe not so big, but very big. Scale it down a little bit. Just scale it up quite big, double the size at least of your main fire. This is going, it's going to work. All right. So drag that thing up a little bit and right-click it. Go down to Pre-Compose. Name it Displacement Matte or Fire Heat Wave or really whatever you want. Click Move down to Move All Attributes into New Composition. Click OK. Now you have this new composition with this cool fireball thingy. Go back to Main. Go to Layer. Click New. Go to Adjustment Layer. Sorry about that. And type in Displacement Matte in the Effects and Presets. Drag your Displacement Matte over to your Adjustment Layer. And in the Displacement Map layer, select Displacement, or the layer that you just created, the pre-comp. Now that you've done this, click the eyeball of that Displacement Matte to get rid of the giant fireball. There we go. Alright, what that Displacement Matte has actually done, it's created a heat wave effect around the fireball as it's going. Now, alright, now you got a really basic fireball effect. Now, it looks okay now, but it could look a lot better. And as you see, by the way, the lighting in my camera was pretty awful. So, or the lighting in my room was pretty awful. So I didn't really get a great footage to begin with. But to make this effect just look a little bit more on what you should do with pretty much everything that you have ever made, you should always color correct. It will always make your effects look a little bit better. If they're too bright and you bring down the brightness a little bit, you can see a lot more shadows, and the displacement map or whatever effects you've actually put in will look a lot better. So always keep in mind, color correcting is amazing. As you know, if you watched my avatar videos, this is not all I did for my effects. I also added other things like a shockwave. Adding a shockwave is very simple. Just get a shockwave, throw it in there. I always brought it to like a farther out point because I didn't like how it looked like regularly. Drag that back. Select add with anything that's on a black screen, or screen actually I think is I think screen looks better. Just experiment with those settings, by the way. Any mode, you can just go through these and see what they do. That's how I've learned, and I think that's how everybody learns. Maybe somebody does know what every single one of them does, but without experimenting, you're not going to really have an idea yourself. So yeah, take your shockwave into the comp and go to a point, I think, right here. And I'm going to drag this out like that. And watch this trick. And this is a trick that I've learned actually to fix most of my effects. And it will prevent you from having to do a background plate on every single thing you do. This is just will save you so much time. I've got my shockwave here and I want to make it coming off of that, but it looks like it's over it because of the way it is. So take your pen tool, make sure you select your effect that you're doing, and just pen around the parts that it's not supposed to be there, which would be these parts that are going to be behind it, and connect there. Now go down to your mask and select subtract instead of add. Now that you've done that, feather the mask a little bit, tint it, select the color of fire that you're using. I'm going to make it a little bit more dark than that, like there. I'm not matching it 100%. There we go. Now, I need to get rid of that frame there. So this is just compositing more into your scenes. This is completely optional. You can do this with any effect you want. If you want to add smoke, you can add smoke. If you want to add flare, you can add flare. Now, this is just showing you that you can do more than just what you've done. If you want a smoke trail behind it, then add a smoke trail. But this is all compositing, and it's completely up to you. The more it matches up, the more realistic it looks, and the better it can sell your effect. If I was really working on this, I'd add some more glow to these rings here, and also the moment that they pass, you'd have to animate that mask to not be empty like that. So you would go down to mask here, and you would go to the beginning, click path, go forward one frame, and simply animate this to move away. So that's a fireball for you. We got 3 we only got 8 layers here. One's a duplicate layer of the main thing, and the rest of these are just a few other extras. Like I said, add anything else you want and add some glow to things. That these shockwaves should be producing light. And that's all you got for a fireball. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe below. Leave a comment if you have any more questions or ways of adding any more effects or parts of the firebending that you would like to know. I'll be doing more tutorials on all the other effects I do, as well as more effects that I haven't done on video, so please stay tuned. Spread the word, share, do all that social media crap, so please, please, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.